You're invited to certainly keep eating and drinking.
I know. It's like,
you're also invited to listen. This is something we've done. You know, we started this during, I think it was 2020, or maybe it was the very beginning of 2021, kind of in the midst of coronavirus. A chance to touch base and talk about what's going on. It's hard to, we have streams of communication, right? But getting everybody in one space, I think, is one of the most powerful ways to communicate. So we will be covering some items. We do talk about finances in this and giving, some legacy things. Actually, I'll just go there, see what we will talk about together. So I hope there's a little something for everybody. Feel free to raise your hand in a minute if you have a question that you think I can answer. That's a very subjective statement, isn't it? So if you have a question you think I can give a shot at an answer to, or if this conjures up a question for you, jot it down and either send it my way or I'll get you the appropriate person who might be able to answer it. So, but here's what we'll cover today. We'll talk a little bit about finances and some of the projects that go on. I realize that things happen around here, even kind of big scale, and unless it's spoken to, sometimes it's not noticed. And so what's happened, what's coming up? Talk a little bit about like the technicality of giving to the church. You see it there. My thoughts on stability and growth, and then what's coming up in 2023. So we'll start just talking. I like easy math, you know that. It's really easy when the month gets to the end of September and it's 75% the way of the year. And so these are numbers that we can really digest easily, I think. So we come up with a church budget every year, you know this, and what goes into our church budget is your pledges. And so that is part of the reason why they're important. Is so that we kind of have a heads up of what we can do or not do the next year. So going into this year, we had a number for those pledges that we received that were coming in. We always have a second number too. Guests, people who choose not to fill out a pledge, that also is an amount and a number that's kind of a best guess for us for what we might be expecting on the year, and then that equals something at the end. And then we have this budget, and so coming into this year, if you add this math up quickly, do I have somebody good at math that can give me what's that together? 170,000, something like that? $165,000, something like that. that we said this is what we expected, and then our expenses were this. So you see that there's a gap there, a budgeted deficit of about $43,000, which sounds big. It's a lot of money to me, I know. But how are we doing here? I don't know how we're doing here. So here's where we're at, though. And this is the piece of good news. So remember, we're 75 the way percent. So what we've received is 80% of the 75 that we kind of could be at right now. Look at this. The non-pledged number is even higher than that. This is wonderful. And then our expenses are a little bit under what we budgeted for, right? If you're right on it, it'd be 75%. So this is good news here about how we're doing thus far. As we end the third quarter of the year, it's just a reminder, if you have a question about where you're at on your pledge, if you are looking to give, we're entering the time where if you want that to count towards this year, we're kind of in the home stretch here as we go into it. So this is kind of that summarized. Brought in about 135, about 147's gone out. So looking at a $47,000 deficit, we're at $12,000, which isn't too bad. But kind of then there's that call out to, we're in the last part of the year, home stretch. I wanted to cover this a little bit. I've been asked this. Maybe it seems so technical, but actually there's more to it. Who here has a checkbook with them right now on your person? See, I didn't say get your checkbooks out. I thought that would be very important. I thought very specifically about how to say that. So what? I saw like 6 hands. That's good for you. Do some of you not know where your checkbook is right now? You think it's in a drawer at home? That's all to say that you can give in different ways. The traditional way to give to churches and nonprofits is checks and cash, which we gladly accept. But there's other ways too, and this is kind of a aha for some. So we are set up to do what's called ACH giving. And what that means is you get hooked up with the office, and it's just like your monthly whatever bill or whatever car payment or whatever, where they just come in on the 15th of the month or whatever you set up, and they take the money you want out. We do that here. And so if you don't want to know where your checkbook is, one of those people, you can do that. And it comes out once a month, and there's people sitting around here that take advantage of that. You can give online on our website, fspresby.org. And when you do that, it's through either a debit or credit card, right? You enter in your card information. Some people prefer doing that. The thing to understand about doing that, though, is that like anything online, when it comes to giving like that, 2% for us, which is actually a really good rate, but 2% is kind of taken off the top. So if you want to give Faithful Shepherd $100, actually Faithful Shepherd will get $98. And the other 2% goes to a good thing. It goes to who we do this through, which is the Presbyterian Foundation. But not 100% of it is coming here. So that's very important to you. Know that if you do choose to give online, but I know some people give online, and that's wonderful too. This is what I started to do. I found that my bank does like bill pay, right? And you can actually also give to nonprofits through that. And so what my bank does automatically is it sends the church a check. I don't have to know where the checkbook is. The bank sends a check in the mail to the church twice a month. And I just let them do that. And I know the amount and all that. And it comes out. So if you have more questions about any of that, talk to either Linda in the office or me, and we'll just set you out the way you want to. Okay, let's talk about some of the big things that have happened around here. You may have noticed some of them. So through just projects that are just kind of bigger than that, which comes out of the operating budget, and then what I call legacy items, legacy and memorial. We've been busy doing a lot of stuff. So sanctuary speakers have been updated. You've noticed the projection hymnals. We're going to get new physical hymnals as well. In the past, we've done half of our classrooms with new AV. We completed that project this year through Memorial Dollars. We have built up worship enhancements. Cool fund was given for like if you were here on Pentecost, there was red balloons. Like that was paid for through a memorial fund. There's something coming up cool for Advent. That's a memorial thing that goes for that. Those worship enhancements. There were unsightly bushes out here by 165th Avenue, and those are gone now, and now it's nice green grass. And we also, this is one of those things that can sneakily happen that I want you to know about. We give financial assistance, and that's like through restricted giving, through some memorial funds, through what we do blessing bucks, to people who need it. People who are having trouble paying their bills, people who have a medical thing going on. And that's something we don't advertise properly enough, how much we help people do that. Gas gift cards, grocery gift cards. That's something that is an ongoing thing in need. So we got a few things. Be honest, has anybody almost driven over the cone out here in the parking lot or not? Yeah, I almost did the other day. I didn't see it. We have an issue. Underneath that cone is this terribly ugly hole, and holes in parking lots are not good things. And so we have got to get that thing fixed, and that is not cheap to do. So right now, Buildings and Grounds, we got the bid. We're going to meet with them how to fix that. So that's one of those things that comes up where you're like, that's not the most exciting thing to spend your money on, but it has to happen. We're painting the exterior of the church. A couple years ago we did 2 sides. Buildings have 4 sides, so we're doing the other 2 sides. And then ceiling repair is on the list. We have bids for some of our unsightly repair, which is actually a big deal to try to get somebody to do that. That's right. Hey, we can hush them, but don't take them for granted. Let me tell you that. Because come to this next one. So I'm always thinking, as your pastor, about stability and growth. I keep saying over and over again to myself. How do I help foster stability and growth? Stability and growth. And I think about these things all the time. And I research them all the time. So I think there's this formula about stability and vibrancy that equals growth. Because I think you can't just have it with one. If you're nice and stable, you need another element. Or if you're super vibrant and like crazy all the time, you need an element of stability. And so these are what I see as keys looking ahead to that. You know, what goes into stability and growth? And these are what I see. Being financially healthy. If you're worried about paying the bills, it's hard to envision, isn't it? Hard to see the future. So that's why we do focus on how we can be in this together when it comes to giving. It comes from a great staff, and I don't say that like narcissistically. I mean, I don't know if I'm great or not, but that's what it comes from. That's where we had the opportunity to take on a CE person. Even if 10 hours a week doesn't sound like a lot, we saw the opportunity to hire Pastor Martha and took it, because from great staff comes both stability and vitality and vibrancy. And then our volunteers, we can't do it without. This is us getting out with the kiddos. Relevant and intergenerational worship. One thing I don't want you to forget is what you have going here when it comes to the cross-generation of it all. I was just yesterday talking to somebody really close to me about a church that's really close to me. And I was just asking them how it was going, and they go, it's not good, you know. Worship, we don't have very many, we don't have Sunday school, we don't have kids. And that's not the church I remember that they were describing. Don't take for granted the energy and the intergenerationalness of it all here. We need to have a welcoming and functional space, just a good space to do everything in. And then that all comes with clear communication of the vision, which I'm challenged with. So these are keys to me as I lead, as I serve, as we grow these things together. And so looking at particularly giving, I've sat in a couple meetings where we talk about, and I don't think you would be in disagreement, that 2023 seems coming down the pike as a challenging year for the world, I think. There's a lot of unknowns going on in this world. There's a lot of economic unknowns going on in your household. I know there is in mine. Collectively as a church, we're not like immune to that, but we can have our vision and our our steadfast foundation to help get us through that. So as we face the challenge together going into 2023, we have exciting things planned here. We've taken on a staff person, and we wouldn't have done that if we didn't think that wasn't sustainable. But we want it sustainable long term. So I ask that everybody just consider what and how they give. You know, there's the long-time giver, somebody who's supported this church for 35 years, you're here. There's the up-and-coming giver, somebody who supporting something like a church financially is a new thing. There's what I call the static and the dynamic giver. The static giver is maybe you haven't looked at how much you give the church in however many years. It just rolls over and rolls over and rolls over. Don't let it go totally static. Have a little dynamism, if that's the word. No word at all. Dynamism. Thank you. I like to throw extra syllables in there when I can. And then giving is sacrificial. What is a sacrifice? It's giving something up now for the future. So you're giving, when you give, you're giving something up. I'd say no matter how much it is, but true sacrificial giving, you know that you're giving something up so that there can be a future ahead of you. That's what a sacrifice is. So just think about those things as we head into this final season. I call for you to remember what it is you love about this place. What is it you love? Give with that being your attitude. And y'all need to celebrate what you have going on here because the landscape has changed and is changing, but there's something very special at work here that God is doing. So that's what we have. It wouldn't be a church hall without time for any sort of questions, if you have them, thoughts, or anything like that. I can't pass the mic. So, Denisha.
Is this PowerPoint presentation available?
I can make it, so I will do that. Any other questions or thoughts? Well, if anything stirs up in you, you let me know if you have any questions about the projects or anything like that. Remember, next week we'll be blessing our pledges, so bring those back. If you can't bring them back next week, that's okay. Get them in when you can, as you can. And we got a great fall coming up. Big 2023, so thank you. Take care. you feel like a second grader all